Okay, here we are. It is still Sunday, January 25th, 2015. And today we're going to tackle the rear drum brakes. I hate drum brakes. Absolutely hate them. So, first of all, I want to go over a couple things you'll probably want to get. Obviously, you'll want to get pads. These are just Duralast, like 22 bucks. Really, the rear pads don't do a lot of the stopping, but they do some of it. So you definitely want to pay attention to your rear brakes. Here are the rear pads here. Also, you'll want to get, I would highly recommend, not a necessity, but you will want to get, I got two of these. And it looks like I only got one. Maybe the other's in the car. A set of the rear brake hardware. Brand new hardware. Trying to use the old stuff is just, you might as well just not use it. Usually it's so old and cruddy. Actually, this is a pair. They're both in here. But one kit for both rear brakes. So new brake hardware. You can get by without using it, but you know, the springs, I would just get it. The pins, everything else just makes it so much easier. And then, depending on how bad your brakes are, you'll want to get a set of drums. So, with this particular car, it's really not a whole lot different than any other car, whether it's my BMW, well, not my BMW, it's got disc all around, but a BMW or just did my son's car not long ago. Actually, I think he had drums. They're all pretty similar. So, this particular set has two screws. I've already taken them out, right here and right here. And then that's all that's holding it in place. Of course, when the wheel's on, that's holding it in place too. So these aren't necessarily, if you lose these or they're stripped out, that's not a huge deal. I recommend to get them out if you're going to try to reuse them. You get a impact screwdriver like this. So essentially you hold it on there, you hit it with a hammer, and it kind of turns it just a little bit. I would get something like that. It's definitely a necessity. That way you don't strip them out and they come out pretty easy. And then you want a hammer. And to get these off, a lot of times it's a big pain in the butt. A lot of times there's adjustment back here. This time that doesn't work. Just, you know, a big mess. So you'll just want to keep on tapping the brake all around, tapping it. If you're getting rid of the brake, if you got enough room, this has a shield on the back of it that covers the entire brake. So this one, that wasn't an option. Usually there's only a half shield. You can hit it from the edge, especially if you're going to get rid of it. And it expires. It just should have been changed a long time ago. And that's my fault. I hate drum brakes. I absolutely hate them. I haven't really done a whole lot in my life. Most of my cars have always had four-wheel disc. And I just absolutely hate drum brakes. So we're gonna tackle it. So in addition to, you know, common tools, the parts, you're gonna need a lot of patience. A lot of patience. And it's always a good idea to take a picture of what you've got in front of you too. So take a picture of it. That way, you know, when it comes time to put it back together, you kind of got an idea of how it goes back together. Besides that, just start ripping it apart. So I'm going to go ahead and get a couple more tools here, and then we'll start yanking this apart. I am actually going to take a picture of it myself. Just so I know how it goes back together. They're all fairly similar, and if you work on drum brakes a lot, I'm sure it's really easy for you, but for me, I don't work on them enough, and I hate them, once again. So a lot of patience, take your time, and hopefully you'll succeed. So we will be back with some tools. Okay, we are back. Now, to be honest with you, I actually had a little trouble with the other side. So I decided to get it all together, get it squared away, and then we'll move on to the passenger side. Hopefully the lighting's good. Not as much lighting over here, but for you to sit there and watch me fumble with that other side would have been brutal. Again, I hate drum brakes. So we're gonna go ahead first. First we'll move this top spring. And you know, a lot of the cars are very similar. They're not gonna be exactly the same, but the concept is all the same. So we move that top spring. Now you can take these pins out first if you want, it's up to you. We'll go ahead and remove the bottom spring. There we go. And again, I'm putting them in orientation that they came off. So that's our two main springs that hold this whole thing together. These pins, which we'll take off, you can use a pair of needle nose and push down and twist. Which is easier said than done sometimes. They do make a special tool. I have one that is not for this particular car. It's round, whereas most American cars with the drums are round. Basically you push in and you turn. I don't even know if it's going to work on this one. Yeah, it did. And we'll show you how it goes back on. It goes back on just as difficult. So here's the old pin. Now again, this is the importance of new hardware. This stuff's all ratty and nasty. This should allow the one pad to come out, which it does. The other side, we'll do the same thing. We'll take this pin off. Again, if you're working on like a GM or, you know, Chevy, this is the tool you want. They might make a special tool for the Ford, I'm sure they do, but I don't have it. There we go. Got that clip off. We'll take that pin out. All right. Now, should be almost ready to come apart here. We've got everything is attached to the parking brake at this point. We can take, there's a spring here. You can take this off, which holds the adjuster, holds the brake pad to the adjuster. And this one might be better suited for a hook than needle nose, but we'll get it off. Or we'll just use a screwdriver. We're not going to be reusing this spring anyway, so if it breaks, it breaks. There we go. It popped out. Here's the adjuster. It has a spring on it as well. My kit did not come with a new spring adjuster. It's just, I don't know why, but essentially this adjuster adjusts how far your pads go out. So it's kind of far right now, so you push it in. And hopefully that's showing up on camera well enough. I don't know how dark it is. If not, then I apologize. This part of the garage is not very well lit. I've got my lights, my shop lights directly on it. So, working with what I got here. Now this is still, this pad here is still attached to the emergency brake lever. And there's a pin. Now this is kind of, I haven't seen this on all vehicles, and unfortunately my kit, so be careful with this pin, or this clip rather, my kit did not include that clip either. So I don't know why, just didn't. So we'll push the adjuster out, and we have one more spring that's holding the adjuster right here to the actual pad. There we go. Voila. So again, take pictures. It is all very easy to get confused on. So first we're going to attach the new brake pad to the actual, this is your parking brake lever here, or adjustment. So not the lever itself, but so we've got that. Let that sit there, and we got to find our clip, whatever I may have just done with it. There it is. We'll put our clip back on. It's right here. It's a shame because these clips are not in the best shape. And everything kind of holds together, so it's, you know, even if it came off, it's may not be an issue, but you know, I don't really. So I may at some point it's really easy to replace once, you know, everything's together. I may at some point this week go ahead and see if they actually sell just those clips, which there. They may not, and that's kind of unfortunate, but they have to go to the dealer. Now, the next one we're going to put on is the one that actually goes onto the parking brake lever. There's this little notch here. One end goes into there. And the other end goes into this little hole right here. Oh. There we go. See, that's on there. Hopefully that's making sense. Now the next thing we're going to put on is our adjuster. Now on the other side, the spring will be on the bottom because they use the same adjuster for the both sides. So that also gets a new spring, which in this case happens to be red. So you kind of want to put this in place first. You don't want to put it on after the fact. There's a hole right here that this slips into like that. So hopefully you can see that. And these, you know, again, this is not going to be, this is more specific to this car, but they all kind of work the same. So don't get discouraged if your car is not exactly like this. Chances are, if you don't have a Mazda Protege, it's probably not. But they all have the same concept. So that spring's in place. We can kind of start getting things adjusted here where they need to be. Next, remember that adjuster that we moved? We moved it closed because if we don't move it closed, we have to adjust it to get the rear hub to fit on. So there's this hole right here. The adjuster goes in that hole, the one end of the adjuster. Oops, and it opened up. So we'll pull on it, we'll make it tighter again. Push in on our cylinder. You can push those by hand. They're not like the front where you have to get a C-clamp and push them down. They're pretty easy to push in. So we're kind of getting everything situated now where it needs to be. That adjuster moved once again. So again, even after I've done this other side, it still is a little bit. We'll go ahead and leave the adjuster out now because I want to put this top spring on. This is a new top spring. Goes in. There's a slot on either side. We'll go ahead and get this because this kind of will tie the whole top of the pad together. And then we can move our adjuster and get everything so it's not just all clunking around here. Yeah, we're a little bit too spread out right now, actually. It's going to be very difficult to get that in. So let me move this adjuster. Again, as said in the beginning of this video, I absolutely hate drum brakes. They're the worst. The devil made them, and he's laughing about it. So let's move this down. There. We'll put this side on first. Now this top spring, it kind of doesn't really, it goes both ways. It kind of doesn't really matter. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Again, I can't tell through the viewfinder. It looks rather dark, which is disappointing. And if it is, I may just have to scrap this whole entire video. Which is unfortunate because I know a lot of people want to know about drum brakes, and there might be some, I'm sure there's some other YouTube videos that are much, much better. that's still not all the way in there. There. All right. Now we're cooking with gas. So we've got the top spring in. Got our bottom spring here, which I'm going to look at a picture. I don't remember which way, not that it even matters. Okay. I don't remember what side the coil went on, but I've got a picture of it. So we'll go ahead and put the bottom spring, just goes in, both holes. It actually goes in pretty easy because we're not, on this side, we're not where we need to be. There we are now. I actually wanted this to go much smoother. I thought it would, because once I figured out the other side, it was actually kind of easy. Okay, we've got all of our springs in place now. Everything is kind of where it needs to be. Now we're going to get our new clamps here, our new pins. I slid that through the back. And this is where everything can get very, very tricky, especially without the proper tool. So I'm going to use my needle nose, attempt to not do it, I guess. Where did it go? There. This design, I mean, it seems like you would think it almost seems over-engineered. And the other side, this wasn't the problem on the other side. The other side was just making sure everything was in the right area. And it just, finally, there. Jeez, old P. So, there's one side now. Let's get our springs. Under our other pin. But I know a lot of viewers like to see, you know, not everything is puppies and rainbows. You know, a lot of videos you watch, oh, this is so easy. And a lot of my motorcycle videos were really that easy. I know, you know, I lucked out on some of it, but it's just some of it was really, truthfully, that easy. All right, other side, same thing. And I'm sure they make another, like I said, I've already mentioned it a million times, but I'm sure I would ask if they make a tool like they do for the, I'm sure they do, for the, and there might be an easier way to do this even yet, for, you know, foreign, Japanese, you know, what have you. Problem is, there's just so many cars that don't use drum brakes. And there's a reason why. First of all, they suck. Second of all, they suck to work on. But there are still a lot of trucks. Yeah, this one's being a pain. Still a lot of pickups that will use them. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, right now my hands actually hurt, so that's not helping anything either. I'm getting a message. Wait a minute, back to that person a little bit. All right, so let's give her another go around. And the only reason why I've got to do this one-handed is because I'm pushing the pin from the back. Otherwise, I could... There, finally. Well, we're not all the way home yet. There, now we are. All right. Now we'll put our bottom spring back in place. There we go. Voila. And our adjuster, if we need to move it a little bit, we can take a screwdriver. I think it's out a little bit too far. And we can kind of push it back in like such. There, now that's all that's left to do is we're going to get one of the drums. We'll clean it up with some brake fluid on the inside, and then we'll slap it on, and then we will be done. So let me go get that, and we'll be back. Okay, we are back. We've got our drum all cleaned up. Just cleaning it right now. Go ahead and remember you've got your screw holes. Again, if those strip out or something, it's not a humongous deal. Because, okay, they didn't line up. You want to make sure they line up. I thought we were lined up, but I was wrong. But if you lose those or they're stripped, it's not a huge deal because the wheel will hold it on. We're going to go ahead and put them back in since we have them and they're good. And that is it. It is done. Both sides. Put this pig back together and take a shower. So that is it. Once you get it, make sure you've got enough brake fluid. Make sure it didn't overflow. Then once you get on the ground, you start driving it. Back it up, put the brakes on. Back it up, put the brakes on. Back it up, put the brakes on. You want to keep on doing that because that adjuster will adjust the brakes to where they need to be. So I usually go back about 4 or 5 times. Brakes are kind of quick and hard, and that'll adjust that adjuster and get everything where it needs to be, and you won't have to worry about trying to manually adjust those. So, which it's really impossible to do. So that is it. Hopefully that all played out. Hopefully it helped. Again, it wasn't the best video. Sometimes they aren't because I kind of do everything just on a whim. You know, I'm kind of prepared, but I want you to see the real world headaches, and they are, with drum brakes, they're there, trust me. So, have any questions or comments, post those below. Please subscribe, and thanks for watching.